Welcome to From the Ashes, the Dungeon Crawler Network podcast, all about Ashes of Creation by Intrepid Studios. Bear witness to the rebirth of the MMORPG genre from the ashes of an industry that has left the gamers behind. I'm Aggelos, founder of the Dungeon Crawler Network, and we are coming to you live from the Mighty Beard Tavern, and I am joined by my co-host, Alpha Soul.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. Oh, there's a cloak on the screen.
There was. It's gone now. It's away. We didn't want you there. Not yet anyway. And of course, the one and only Crowjack.
Sup?
Sup? It's a great give and take right there. A lot to work with. I like it. Well, this is going to be the end of the show because we had no news this week at all. So I hope you guys enjoyed.
We had Hello Kitty Island Adventures to discuss.
Yes, we did. Yes. Did you guys all download it? Ready to go?
I did.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I made my character. It's great. It's a little pink kitty. Ears.
Excuse me, I was going to be the pink kitty tank. You were going to be the white kitty healer.
I think we're going to have to discuss this post-show. Hey, we do have a fun show planned for you guys this week. We did get a lot of news this week, including a new developer diary about weapon modeling, new cosmetics on the store. If you're a diviner, maybe you should go take a pilgrimage, and of course, a developer live stream that happened just a few hours ago. Hey, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking all about that. But before we do, also got to give amazing shout outs to our patrons over at patreon.com/Dungeon Crawler Network, as well as our Twitch subs. You guys are amazing and help keep the candle lit and the bar stocked with alcohol. But if you look back on the bar, it looks a little empty. So we drink it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
It's a thing. But yeah, no, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. We have not got any new iTunes 5-star reviews. I could speak words, right?
Sometimes they matter.
Yeah. And sometimes they matter.
Sometimes they do. Yeah, but hey, check those out. That really does help us out, ladies and gentlemen, if you leave us those 5-star reviews. We really do appreciate that. And before we jump into news, we do have one more announcement to make. Yes. Oh, no. Okay. All right. You look like you had your hand up. You're ready to say something. Okay. One more announcement to make. As of this episode, From the Ashes will be going on a bi-weekly release schedule for the foreseeable future. There's a couple reasons for this. Obviously, we've been doing this since, well, May 3rd, 2017. 1832. So, yeah, we've been doing this for over 2 years now. Obviously, getting close to episode 100, which is really exciting for us as a podcasting network. But one thing we've noticed is we've been getting a lot of news drought. A lot of news drought within Ashes. Like this week, we got a lot. But the past few weeks, we've been going by on fumes, and we want to make sure that we can provide you guys a show that's entertaining and doesn't feel like we're having to stretch news out as far as we have to, okay? So that's what we're looking at. Now, we do reserve the right. If there's big news, guess what? We're gonna do a From the Ashes show, and we will probably return to a weekly schedule once alpha testing starts, because once we have the game in our hands, we don't even need news. We could talk about the mechanics in place, what has changed over patch cycles, etc. So there will be a lot of stuff.
And we have nothing planned in the interim.
No, nothing at all.
Nothing. There's nothing. There's just going to be Hello Kitty Island Adventure live streams of us are going through it every other week. We'll on that time slot, we'll play the game. Yep.
Crowjack does have a point. We are not going to leave you high and dry, because I actually see chat room now going, no, the content, I need it. We are actually, if you haven't heard of us before, we do have an MMORPG news and discussion show that doesn't focus on a single MMO called the Dungeon Crawlers, and we're going to be bringing that back with the From the Ashes crew. We've done about 14 episodes in the past with various crew members and various guests and whatnot. But what this show will do is on alternating weeks with From the Ashes, we're going to be bringing this show up and just talking about stuff that's going on throughout the week. Whether it, be what's going on in the MMORPG universe as a whole. In fact, there's a lot of interesting stuff. I know one thing we're going to talk about already next week is there's a new MMO already on its way out called, what is it, Starburst? Star Pulse?
Starburst. Can we just call it
Starburst? I think that's what we're going to call
I
it.
like the strawberry Starburst.
Indeed. So that'll definitely be interesting. So yeah, that's not going to be just dedicated to Ashes. We'll have this show, but then on alternating weeks we'll have our MMORPG News and Discussion Podcast, where we get to talk about whatever it is we're playing and all the fun stuff that's going on in the world of MMORPGs. That is available on our YouTube page as well as anywhere that you listen to podcasts: iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Spotify. Anywhere you can get the
All of them.
RSS feed. Yeah, everywhere.
And the cool thing about that show, all the MMO experience we all have over the course of our life, and we can bring to that conversation, including all the new stuff, WoW Classic, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun for us to do, definitely. And then, like I said, in that 2-week period of time, if we get a little bit of news, it can wait and pile up, and then we can actually provide you with an entertaining and fully fleshed out show for From the Ashes. So, all right. Let's jump right on into the news. First up, we've got a new developer diary, the weapon modeling. I wasn't going to dive a whole bunch into this one just because it's entertaining to watch if you want to see it.
Go see it.
Yeah. They actually have their... I'm a really bad person for this. I didn't even look up who the person was. I watched it.
I know. I can't think off the top of my head.
I'm just going to
while you're doing that,
really quickly, I am very much prepared, and his name is...
I'm ready to fill this conversation. There you go.
Carson Steele style? Something like that?
Watching him model live, they had that sped up recording of him actually making the model of a staff, and watching him go through and adjusting the polygons and shaping it almost like clay was really cool to see. Something I've never seen. I'm a content creator, so seeing that from a different perspective is really cool. I love seeing that kind of software, and I'm glad they showed us that footage in that video.
Right.
I'm curious what they have for different races and different, what's the base criteria for each of the races and organizations. One is supposed to be curvy, one's more pointy, one's more yeah. I'm curious.
But just for like you mentioned, orcs are very heavy and angular, you imagine, and spiky and aggressive, and an elf is very elegant and woven. And you're right. So what kind of guidelines they have in their art?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
This is actually where we brought up in the past where things such as a style guide would have been very helpful, just even if it was something along the lines of, again, something that we get to talk about on the MMORPG show, the Dungeon Crawlers. One other of the indie MMOs, Chronicles of Illyria, they provided a style guide very early on for each of the races of characters that they were going to have in the game. Right off the bat, they showed them, and then they gave a style guide right there going, this is kind of what they are. In their lore description, everything, you kind of got an idea of exactly what they were going to be like right from the get-go.
And maybe the developers didn't want to get pigeonholed really early in development on their styles just yet. Maybe they haven't hammered those out or decided on them just yet, the exact styles. They could say something like Asian influence or French influence, but maybe they haven't gone into the color palette or all that kind of stuff specifically that early in the development process.
Right. And I think we only have that on 2 of the races. I specifically remember that the Renkai orcs had a Japanese influence to them.
Yeah.
And of course the Nakua were the Polynesian dwarves, so we have that. So we kind of knew the dwarves, we kind of knew right off the bat because we even seen concept art for them. We didn't start getting concept art for Renkai until one of the Hunters pack or whatever it was. You guys remember? It was one of the cosmetic.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Aggelos,
Yes,
you're not allowing elves into your guild, right?
that's correct.
Are you going to allow the Asian-loving Renkai into your guild? Because Asian, samurai,
that is true.
anime, are you gonna be like, sorry, you Renkais, you anime, Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball Z loving Renkai can't be in the guild either?
Correct.
Two races?
Pretty,
not allowed.
pretty much humans, dwarves, and one race of orcs are allowed. That's
One
pretty much.
quarter of the population just straight up not allowed in this guild.
Yeah, no, at least. Yeah,
At least.
at least. So yeah, that's what happens. I'm just telling you. Anyway, go ahead and check those out. Those developer diaries are always very, very fascinating, very informative in a very short period of time. Like a 5-minute video, it's pretty neat. So definitely.
Oh, yeah.
All right, moving on to the next bit of news: Pilgrimage of the Diviner. We've got the new month's worth of cosmetics. These are going up as of June 5th at 11 a.m. Pacific and going until July 3rd. So you can still get those Beastmen of the Nakua bundles, but once it switches over, you can't. So we're going to talk about these things in the best way possible and most descriptive and apt way for our podcast listeners, because not everyone watches it on the YouTubes.
That's true.
But the very first thing we've got is the Shawl of Astral Balance, which if you are watching on YouTube or when you're safely somewhere not driving yourself, clicking the link in the podcast description so you can actually see these pretty images while we're talking about them, we've got ourselves the accessory piece, which is a cloak for the Vec. I'm assuming these are the Vec. Yeah. What I find most interesting of this cloak, other than the fact that it's got this nice little purple and fur mixture, do you notice that on the actual cloak itself is a star map? Look
Oh, you're right.
very closely.
Yep.
That's a star map.
Vec.
Oh yeah.
Stargazing orcs.
Yeah.
That really.
Also, can we like? This is one of our first looks at like Vec-related designs for clothing and stuff, right?
For clothing, yes. And we'll get to an image later that had a lot of people in the community very, very excited for a reason that we'll talk about here in like 2 minutes. But yes, this is actually one of the first things that we're seeing from, not the very first thing we've gotten of Vec, because remember we got that Stargazer building and then that weird half moon helmet thingy. But nothing else really. Well, maybe. No, I don't think there was a costume related.
So first impression, the race, the stargazing orc, which already is weird, it's vibrant.
I like.
Colorful.
Yeah.
I like these orcs because they're very much reminiscent of, going back to World of Warcraft, the shamanistic orcs.
Yeah.
Not just the Mordor orcs, of crush everything.
Right.
'Cause
They're-
that's everyone's image, right, in their heads. Of an
Right.
orc.
Yes. Oop, just that. There we go. All right, so that's pretty cool. I actually really do like this, and like I said, the detail of seeing the star map on the back was really, really neat.
I like it as well.
The next item that is available is, as soon as I throw my cat off my desk, because she won't leave me alone, is the Burrowhawk. There we go. Wow, he's really big and not where he needs to be on the screen. There he is.
The foxhawk.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
If I had to the foxhawk. It's cool.
If you are listening to us on the podcast, this is a mixture of, I would actually say, a phoenix and a fox.
It does look Phoenix-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you've got the standard fox body, except for you have a tail, wings, and the little head feather ahead of a hawk or a phoenix. But the coloring, especially the tips of the feathers, are this bright, vibrant red and yellow. Which reminds me more of a phoenix than not. But anyone ever see the old Nickelodeon show, the Amerame of Avatar: The Last
Yeah.
Airbender?
No.
Really?
Nope.
Nope. I have not. Have you?
Okay. Yeah, I used to love that show. Old Nickelodeon, it was great. But the reason why it made me think about it is because in that show, the world that they created, every bit of the fauna was like a mixture of two animals. like a platypus bear.
Yeah.
In one particular episode, they actually made fun of, we're going to the king's place, and he's inviting us to the birthday of him and his bear. You mean platypus bear? No. Obviously, you mean hawk bear. No, it just says bear. This place is weird. Yeah, because everything was like a mixture of two animals. Oh, look, turtle ducks, things like that. Everything was just a mixture of animals. So, I don't know. That's what made me. All right, never mind. Moving on to the next thing. The mount skin is the bearded Balemane.
Buff mane. This thing's jacked.
What
What
is
is with the mounts
Yeah.
being just like steroid-induced weightlifters? Look at this dude.
It's true, but the one thing you can notice is he skips leg day. Look at those tiny little ankles.
That's true. Well, up to a point. It's,
A horse's
yeah,
power
kinda.
isn't in their ankles.
No. Those right there in the front. Those are shoulders. Look at those little tiny little biceps right above the knee. Look at the back legs.
Yeah.
Do you hear that, artists? Buff them out when they get to the actual modeling and rendering. Buff them out a bit. Get those
Well-
get those forearms up.
With horses, though, that's what usually goes first, right?
Mhm.
As their ankles.
The one thing to take note of again is that this looks like a really, I don't know. It doesn't quite look. It doesn't quite look like a horse. Its neck is way too thick.
The
Bes-
tail is weird.
The tail is
Yeah.
weird, and beside the obvious tusks that are coming out of it,
Yeah.
I mean that's the obvious part. But I mean, there's
Not
some.
to mention the Fu Manchu.
Well, I mean, that's like a goat beard. That could happen. I don't know. It's that neck looks wicked thick. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just the angle, but it looks wicked thick.
No, that's a wicked thick neck. There's not. Yeah. No. Yeah. Just crazy.
And I see chat saying the nose looks more bovine than equestrian, which I agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyone impressed with that? No. My wife
Yeah.
would have been. The fact I used
This horse is a
equestrian.
person. If this horse is a person, he would be a metalhead bodybuilder. The freaking hair, the facial hair, he's jacked. This guy's ready to rock out and lift weights.
Yes, he is. Yeah, and yeah, it is weird that the mane does go all the way down the back.
Yeah, right to where the
Yeah.
saddle would be and the whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah, it actually, you know what this reminds me more of than almost anything, because of that the hair going all the way down the back. The water buffalo.
Oh yeah.
Water buffalo have the little
Oh, yeah.
puff of hair that goes all the way down the back. It doesn't just stop. And some of what are the hippie cows? I forget what they're called.
Hippos?
No, hippie cows.
The
Just
hippie cows.
Google hippie cow. They're from
Okay.
Scotland. They're these they have like reddish fur, but they're called hippie cows because it's just like this long curly mess. It's like always in their face. My wife thinks they're adorable. Yeah, hippie cows. I don't remember what their actual name is. Now I have to look it up. Hippie cows. What are their actual name? Okay, they actually literally just call them hippie cows. No, there's an actual name for them. I don't know. They're cute, though. Oh, they're just called the Scottish Highland cow. Okay. Thank you, Varkin, for that. Yes. Yeah, hippie cows. That's what everyone knows them by. All right, and this is probably the cosmetic that got people the most excited, and not because of the cosmetic. It actually had
not
nothing to
because
do
of
with
cosmetic.
that.
Yeah.
As you can see on the screen, this is the cosmetic for as I pull it up, the Scryer of Ebon Sky. So this is a costume. We'll describe the costume a little bit. Again, that purple cloth, a lot of feathers to it. There is a nice little staff with an ornamental top to it and a lot of feathers. But that's not what people were excited about. They were excited because this is one of the first times we've seen a Vec Orc illustrated in the game.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of beard on the Vec Orc. Pointy ears, and he has the earlobe extenders in his ears as well, and not a lot of tusks going on with a big, flat, wide nose.
You know,
Interesting.
based
Yeah.
on where his mouth is, I wasn't sure if those things are tusk or like beard
Ornaments.
rings. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe the orcs
Beard.
don't have tusk.
this particular race.
Maybe not. But no, it's neat to see. I'm actually really
Those look like
excited to
beard
see
rings.
them.
Yeah. Those do look like beard rings.
Yeah, they do.
So I can't.
Because it almost looks like his mouth is in a frown, so he doesn't have any mustache going on. So
Yeah.
his mouth is in a frown, but that puts what looks like could be tusk, but they're a little too far off to the side, like they're in his cheeks.
Also, looks like he's tall and thin, muscular, but not jacked like a traditional fantasy orc would be, right? They're very
Yeah.
square and blocky and strong. He's more human-esque in his build. And I guess because they're not really a warrior race per se.
And I noticed that someone in chat said, "Is that a mask or an actual head?" Based on
That's
the
face.
ears, I honestly think that's face paint.
And if you look
I
at
think it's face paint as well too.
the sunken eye, you see the skin on his sunken eyes a bit there. That's face paint over his face.
Yeah, but it's sort of weird with the feathers. I get what they're saying. That the feathers
Shaved
make it
head?
look like
Feathers?
maybe.
It's hard to tell. Crazy beard though. That's a dwarf beard on that guy.
I know. I'm kind of jealous of that beard. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Anyway, that's a pretty neat cosmetic as well. Again, more people were fascinated with the fact that this is one of the first renditions of a Vec orc, more so than the costume. So
Wait, so is that technically the first outside of the Biff? Well, no, I guess not.
for
No, I'm trying to think of who we've actually seen now as far as race-wise goes.
We've seen a little bit of dwarf. Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
technically speaking, they already have the model in game for the elves. At least one of the races, because if you look at the statues, there's statues of female elves
Yep.
in the
that's
elven
true.
city.
Right.
And the one thing I know they did is they take that model and then they just apply a marble texture to it. But that's an in-game model for an elf.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Next up, we got the Nomadic Reliquary, a caravan skin.
This first instinct, right? A little bit more information about the Vec and their astronomy love and their stargazing. Look at the device on the top of this thing. Right? Gives it an inside look into their culture. That's really cool.
And the top of it has that stone artwork that is very Aztec in design. Sharp angles, and yet not dwarven sharp angles. It has a different feel to it.
And also notice the additional massive wheel. Are these guys going to be a little more engineering inclined? Because of their love of gazing at the stars, you can't do that without technical knowledge. So will they be very good engineers because of that?
I can't imagine not. I mean, look at the amount of work it would have taken to make that gyroscope.
Yep.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Interesting.
So maybe there's scientific leaning then? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna have to see the stars properly and to look at them.
But look
So
at
it's a weird mixture of faith, maybe, while gazing at the stars, the oracleness, and then science. Cool.
I like the scale that they showed, because look at the horse thing.
Yeah.
Big wagon.
It is. Unless that horse is really small.
But how
but-
big? Yeah, I was wondering how big is the horse?
True horse.
That's,
Dude, that is our jacked horse that we saw earlier. That's it. So assume it's bigger than a man.
Yeah.
yeah, I guess so.
Assume it should carry a man.
Well, maybe it's making up for its lack in height by working out way too much.
Dude, that thing's got to carry a Vec, and assume the Vec are pretty big.
Yeah, you can assume, but doesn't make it right. Next up, the Altar of Silence, a freehold skin. I actually love this tower looking thing. As you can see in the background, it is a perfectly square tower. Lot of ornamental stonework, and of course, stained glass square windows. This thing is beautiful. I want it.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the sharp angles, and I'm like Aztec, but then you see the stained glass windows, and I'm like, that's like French and medieval stuff. So I'm trying to figure out where they're drawing their inspiration for this architecture.
Yeah. And I've raised it up on the screen a little bit. If you're looking at the link, you'll get a better description. But if you're only watching here, the thing that makes you think Aztec is that door, that oddly shaped door. But everything else actually kind of reminds me of, especially the side pillars, reminds me of the elven structures in The Witcher.
And this is an altar meant for divining and for the seers. Again, that faith side of a Vec. If there is a science side, this would be the faith side.
Right.
The side kind of reminds me of European buildings.
Yep.
The like the stained glass part, though.
Yeah, that part definitely does. And I mean, the top is flat, so you can put Gandalf up there.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. That is the end of the pilgrimage of the diviner stuff, cosmetics stuff, as I so eloquently put, right?
True.
I actually do like a lot of those. I don't think I'll buy any of them, mostly due to the fact of things we'll talk about here in the future, the art design and whatnot that something that I'm very excited about. I do love some, but I absolutely despise others. Again, artwork is subjective. I can't push my opinions
some of
on
those
other
bows
people.
and stuff. I love them. Love
Okay.
some of those bows.
Honestly, there was only about one bow that I went, okay, I like it. The one
Black and
long
green?
bow. No, the one
Not
long
the black
bow.
and green. All right, so we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the developer live stream from today. They changed up the format a little bit on this, and I gotta say, I did like this format.
I did too. It feels a lot more professional with this format and a lot more structured than the past ones.
And they didn't just do this big block of stuff, this big block of stuff. It was, let's have a guest, and then we're going to put some video in. And then the guest is going to change out. New guest, new topic, put in some video. And they kind of wove stuff in there.
You mean kind of like our podcast does, with different segments and bringing...
But they're better than us. They do a better job than we. We do a good job, but that was really cool.
We just don't have a guest to bring in, but...
Exactly. Yeah, they've got these guests. Man, they just pull random developers. They have the advantage, right?
Yeah, no, we could do that. I mean, Steven has our access. Steven, anytime you want, we'll pull in any random developer, just throw them in. We'll mess with that.
And we will grill them relentlessly.
Yeah, we will.
About their favorite sandwich toppings.
And what role they want to play in our upcoming Hello Kitty Island adventure party.
Yep.
Guild run. Let's go.
Yeah. There were a few new updates. Obviously, the new Dev Diary they talked about. They talked about, what is that pet that you love so much, Alpha? Quarrier?
The pangolin.
Yeah, pangolin. Yeah, that's what they call it, Quarrier. They've been
Quarrier,
working on that. We do know that the Vines node is the next blog post coming out, which is pretty cool.
So many questions.
And they did fix some of the summer images on the shop. If you wanted to go back and buy some of the summer Kickstarter, if you were one of the Kickstarter buyers, you can now do that as well. They've hired 7 new engineers starting between now and July 1st, and they're all veterans of the industry with a new studio is being built. Okay, let's move on. Things that are being shown are work in progress, obviously.
Let's go.
I'm trying to think
I'm
how
so
I
ready.
want to jump into this. Design team updates. Okay, we talked about Apocalypse and how they're moving towards the later part of the development process. That last 10%, we mentioned that last week, and now they're prototyping a bunch of different stuff for the MMO and Castle Siege. They were also looking at redoing some of the melee combat because players thought it sucked.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was floaty. Like the phrasing they used in the stream, I didn't think of it, and then when I heard it, I was like, yes, it's like people are slapping each other, right? There's no weight behind the attacks. Just bringing these weapons back and forth, and it feels like you're slapping each other.
right.
Yeah.
It's a great way to visualize it.
We have a video in the background. Special thanks to Shaz of Ash's post for this. Thank you so much for his diligent note-taking for his live stream transcriptions. And also, he provided these videos in his document. So thank you again, Shaz, for that.
Okay.
So definitely check out his Ash's post as well. A lot of good stuff there. So we actually have the video in the background showing the new animations. They look
Love the screen shake.
right.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And it's nice. And it seems to be at a bit of an animation lock when they're attacking, and they've changed the animations for impacts, receiving impacts, and the sound effects. They've put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I like animation locking. I think it feels good to a certain extent.
Yeah, you got to find that balance, right?
Right. Because there is a point where, how do I want to say it, where animation locking doesn't feel good, but at the same time, has anyone here really swung an axe before or a sword before? I know I have. When you start
Heavy,
I have.
you follow through, man.
Yeah, at a certain point, there is a point in the swing where there is a point of no return where you just gotta follow it.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually, I thought that was a good point, just because when you normally swing weapons, when you normally fight, you don't. The way it goes in most games, you don't typically act like that. In other words, you're not really strafing at the same time when you're following through with a swing, right?
Like
when
World of
you're
Warcraft
making
or-
contact. Yeah, exactly. And then they've kind of got these animations that go, and I think a lot of people have gotten used to that. But it's not really natural, I guess you could say. And yeah.
What you need to be careful of, though, is if you're going too much towards realism, do you take away from the user's enjoyment and experience of the gameplay?
True. Very true.
So where do you find that sweet spot where it's not feeling like it's floaty and meaningless, but it's also there's some weight to it, but not too much weight where you feel like you're stuck in these animations, and it slows down the game and it loses any of its fluidity and movement.
I think it's really going to depend on how thoughtful the combat is going to be, right? Like how much, like do you have to think before you take that swing because they could do something else to combat that, or if you get locked in a particular motion, will you need to think that through because they can counter you somehow, right? But if it doesn't serve any other purpose than just to keep you in one place as you swing, then that's a different story.
But shouldn't that be the case? We've seen streams like when they allowed the media to stream New World, and we were seeing some people playing with that game and seeing some of the animation locks and stuff that they had done. When you commit to a heavy attack, you're committed.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
But there's a risk
that makes
versus
sense.
reward. I mean, you could just swing and then you have that ability, but if you connect with a heavy attack, it's devastating. But again, it's easy to get away from if the person's not CC'd or.
So I didn't realize that was on the stream, right? So I can talk about it.
Yes.
Right. Oh, okay.
That's
good.
why I brought it up.
Yeah. So New World is actually a really good example of the combat in that you do have to think about what you're doing. You can't just wildly swing like crazy, or you're just gonna die. You know, they're gonna kill you. They're gonna do whatever you want. But the aspect of the animation locking that I like, that is in New World, that's in other games that you have, is you can dodge, right? If you make the wrong kind of attack, you can dodge, and they can counter you with something like that, right? It's just like this low level strategy that you're employing as you fight someone, rather than going in, you make a swing, they dodge, and you just instantly pivot and chase them down. It means more if you are locked.
So what we're talking about is a little bit less to do with the combat and the swinging, and more to do with having combat that gives you options in terms of play and counterplay, whether it's blocking, parrying, dodging, or stunning and slowing, and all these other things. That's what we would love to see. We're probably not going to see that in the Battle Royale as much, or in the Castle Siege as much, but once you have full-on classes and full-on class kits, and sword and shields and parrying and blocking and slows and stuns, we're definitely going to see more of those options, right? I had this spell interruptibility. When do I want to use it? Do I want to use it on a damage ability or a heal ability? We'll see more of that in the MMO, hopefully. But in the Battle Royale, it's mostly going to be who can spam attack fastest and keep the person properly locked on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sort of how I feel BDO combat is to an extent. There's not a lot of... I mean, they do have some animation locking, but there are things like flows that break that, and you can use it. But that doesn't feel as good as what New World was showing.
No, BDO is so much like iframes and front guards and combos of attacks that there's very little window for any counterplay within.
Right.
It's complicated, it's in depth, but it's not very interactive.
Right. Like you said, the interplay there isn't so much from an animation. It's wait till the person's iframes out and then CC and just spam away. Now, if you miss, then they CC you, and that's how it goes.
Yeah, those fights are decided usually within 1 or 2 moments in the fight. Like you mentioned, if you miss, if you have a window to hit the guy in, and if you miss it, you're screwed. If you hit it, they're screwed. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of play back and forth in that MMO.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, it's, and I seen Broken was on there, says, I watched a sword fight. If you watch sword fight scenes in movies like Troy, Achilles uses that point of no return to his advantage, which is true. Waiting for the person to overcommit to attack. That's actually something within sword fighting that's like, if someone overcommits to an attack, I mean, let's look at Game of Thrones when Jaime and Bronn were fighting in King's Landing. He waited till Jaime lunged too forward, reached in, grabbed the sword, threw it off. Like, yeah, you overcommitted and now you're screwed. You know? There is a point that when you allow for animation lockings up to a certain point, it's a good thing. I do think you should be able to interrupt your own animation up to a certain point of every animation. So you can feint. That way, okay, like a feint attack, that would be a skill you could look. So I'm seeing Crojack come at me. I know he does this 1, 2, 3 punch combo. If he hits that, it hurts. But I know he can, you know, you can break it up until the second punch or whatever. So I could see the animation coming, but a skilled player could feint that and go, oh, nope, and switch to something else.
Yeah.
But that's more like a combo attack system where in the second punch of a 3-punch combo, you can change it from this punch to that kind of punch or not a punch into a roll. You're right. That'd be very sweet.
That is what I'm really hoping for, that once an animation is started, you shouldn't stop it except for if it's a multi-stage animation.
And that's good, but if you get too much into the combo thing with 8 main classes and 8 subclasses that can modify how the main classes operate, it can get real complicated real quick.
Right. But that's not really a bad thing, though.
Yeah, no. Not a bad thing for our player experience. Lots of options. That's great. Bit of a nightmare from balancing and development.
Right. Anyway, moving on to the next bit of news. Our next bit from this. The visual effects team updates.
Yes. Love it so much.
Let me switch this video over to the visual effects because that's the one I have somewhere.
They're a new artist. Phenomenal. Love them. Doing good work.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's the one I want.
Is it good? You got it?
It's on. Yep. All right. So we have the new things. The new effects artist has been working on tweaking these different new effects to make them look better and much less taxing on your system. So I have this up here now. They'll allow players to scale down the effects for optimization as well. Updated their effects for the Miasma, Nightfall, Wand of Light, and Apocalypse Portal. So I have this video up, and they're playing with the Miasma bow. And what are your... That Miasma, man, that's crazy.
If what they say is true and they've made it more optimized and less taxing on the computer than the previous Miasma, that's a win because this one looks visually stunning.
It does.
Lightning effects, particle effects, a tentacle, some black fog. Like there's like 5 or 6 different layers of things in there, and it looks visually amazing.
It looks amazing. I really hope that's more of an end game ability.
Yeah, in the BR, it's just the BR.
In the BR, it's just the
Yeah,
BR,
just
but
the
yeah.
But you're right. You want your flashy abilities to be mana expensive, cooldown heavy, epic things. You don't want to just spam them like crazy because then all of a sudden, 2,000 people in a node siege, there's 500 freaking darknesses everywhere.
The only issue that I have with the Wand of Light that I'm seeing right now is it looks like... It reminds... Anyone ever play Legend of Zelda Wind Waker?
No.
Wait, which one?
Wind
Legend of
Waker.
Zelda. No, I don't think I.
All right. Well, in the very beginning of Wind Waker, there's a little kid who follows you around with snot dripping out of his nose, and that's kind of what the effect looks like.
Oh,
Like a big drop of snot just hanging there.
I know the image you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do like the new Portal animations. They all look really, really good.
Okay, fluff aside. Fluff's great. Use WASD to pick your landing spot. This is straight out of BDO's Battle Royale, where you can actually choose the angle where you kind of land in a sense. So when you're in this falling portal meteor kind of concept before you become your Griffin, you're able to apparently change your direction and aim towards a specific zone. And then become your Griffin and fall, blah, blah, blah. Which is different than how it was done before. Before, the portal was just like falling on its own, and you were at the mercy of it until you got out of it.
Besides
Different gameplay difference.
the rampant cheaters within BDO's Shadow Arena, they had one of the best MMO.
The best non-FPS, like, yeah, fantasy. It was cool.
It was really good. I'm actually really sad that they had to take it away because of all the hackers, but
Yeah.
what are you going to do, right? I don't know.
Also, they've changed some of the animations of the items on the ground in the Battle Royale for APOC. How they glow and how they look is a bit different too. Much more cleaned up.
Indeed. All right. Moving on to the next image, which is, I guess, some of the environmental teams. There we go. Bacon showed up on the live stream to talk a little bit about the different refinements that they've been doing on the environmental art. And the image we have in the background is really just this beach scene, and I'm loving the water. Because I could say in APOC originally, the water was ugly looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
It really was not. I mean, they probably got the stock Unreal water, and there's things you can do with that. So...
Yeah, it's amazing to me that this is early pass environments, right? What we're seeing now are early passes. It's crazy.
Right.
I can't wait to see leading into beta 1. I can't wait. Well, alpha 1, alpha 2, yeah, but once you get into beta 1 and things are much more polished, I'm so excited to see how the textures are going to look. Like on a high-end, max graphics, 144 frames a second, I cannot wait to see how beautiful this world looks.
Right.
And the changing weathers, and I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Right. And of course, like those god rays, those look so great.
Yes.
Yeah.
The blades of grass. They mentioned in the live stream how they had a different system for the blades of grass moving, so that it looked more like gusts of air and gusts of wind moving through the grass and like an explosion of wind and stuff like that, as opposed to just grass kind of swaying there. So they're really taking all these natural phenomena into account.
Right.
And I wonder if there's a storm, if the trees will move more, and if the grass is going to move more. I can't wait.
Moving on, the next thing we're going to actually see is we're starting to see a little bit of news, or not news, some of the artwork from the Kickstarter rewards, and we get to see the Swole Breaker again.
Yes.
Now with wings.
Now with wings that move too quick. Even Steven's like, yeah, those wings are flapping too fast.
It's a hummingbird.
Yeah, it's a hummingbird. On the flip side, that's a big body. Those wings probably got to move a little quick to keep that body up.
It's like a bumblebee. Defies all laws of navigation, anything like that. Like it just shouldn't be able to fly.
Like the wings are partially transparent. They're translucent. That's cool. And there's going to be bioluminescence in them, very subtle in the future.
Swallbreaker Mothra. This thing is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
They made it look a
amazing.
little friendlier for some reason with their with the facial expression.
The expression, yeah.
They need to change those hands and feet so bad.
What's the term? The creepy valley, where something is almost human but not quite, and it just creeps you out on a subconscious level. This is kind of there because it's kind of humanoid, but not quite, and it's looking at you. And it's creepy.
You know, actually, now that you mention it,
It's the vertical flying position that with the shoulders, the biceps, and the arms, and the opposable hands, and
I
the
think they
eyes.
just took a human model and stretched it out.
You think
just
so?
kind of hunched him.
I
over.
do. I honestly do. I think they
Arrows
just
at the waist. legs, lower spine. Like, it looks kind of humanoid if it stood on its back legs.
I think
Dude.
they got a stock model of a humanoid person off of the Unreal, and then they manipulated it, cut off a finger, lengthened them a little bit. Because if you look at the feet, when it shifts to the back, it'll rotate around. They changed the way that feet or the ankles angle a little bit, but look at the toes. See the toes right here? Those are humanoid toes.
Please let this thing speak, be able to speak, make it an intelligent
Yeah.
species. Let me ride it where I want to ride it, and then it needs to stand on its back legs, cross its arms in front of my tavern, and be my damn bouncer. Please. It's mount, it's bouncer, it's companion. Like, let's go. It does it all. Slices, dices, makes chili and fries. Come on.
There is something weird about the tail. I honestly think that's what they did. They did not. I don't think they designed this model from scratch. I think they took a model and added a few things.
Its upper body and up to its its waist is so humanoid, and then the toes are humanoid.
It looks
But
like
the
they
lower
took a
legs-
human foot and like, here, if we just stretch it out a little bit and then bend it here at the, now it looks like somewhat of an animalistic foot, but that's a human body.
I love it, but I hate it, but I love it.
Ugh.
Oh man.
I don't even know what to do here. But again, this was from Brad Constantine, the senior artist on the character team, was brought on. This is Brad's 8th MMO project, so he's got quite the resume. And I don't know, other than the Swall Breaker, what else did they show us? Oh, I think they started showing us at this point in time some of the weapons, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And not just the reskins from the BR, some new stuff.
Let's jump into that mess, shall we?
Aggelos hates all of it, so take what he says with a grain of salt.
I thought they were pretty cool.
I liked a
that's
lot of
my
them.
style.
So
I'm glad you guys are here. Again, art's always subjective.
art subjective.
Just because, and I say this every time, just because I don't like something doesn't make it inherently wrong. It just means it doesn't fit my artistic taste. I could make an argument that this is unrepresentative of what the Kickstarter showed, but I've made that argument in the past. Go back and listen to our past episodes if you want to hear that. Because I do feel like all this art is not representative of what they showed us originally during the Kickstarter.
Because originally they showed you the humans indigenous to the desert, and then the humans that weren't indigenous to the desert, and a lot of the art we're seeing is very elven in design. So I'd say you need to wait until we see a lot more,
Right.
before you can really make that kind of call.
Yeah.
The one thing I can say, though, and I will say this, because this is the art style being shown, I do get this is probably elven in design. You're not going to see them deviate much from this. Meaning, you're not going to see Witcher-style weapons on the Kalar humans at all.
I expect to be honest.
I don't. I'm expecting
expect
what
little.
what we're gonna see is we're gonna see, instead of wing motifs everywhere, we're gonna see lion motifs everywhere.
I don't think it'll be that simple of a change. I think low to medium level human weapons and armor are going to look very traditional medieval fantasy, and then maybe as they escalate into higher level epic and legendary related stuff, it'll get more ornate and stuff. But I think you will have your beautiful assortment of, if they do transmogrifying options.
Yeah,
I think
hope
you'll get
so.
them.
I hope so.
think
Then
You
that,
have to. It's
yeah.
a fantasy MMO, a high fantasy MMO. You have to.
All right. Well, I didn't save this image, but I actually want everyone to go and look. Just Google search Lineage 2 weapons, and then just do an image search. All of this stuff could have been ripped from Lineage 2. I really feel like what's happening at this point is Ashes has shifted into Lineage 2 remaster. Remaster. All right. Let's actually show this video. So we got the staves being shown in their various forms. This kind of looks like a seahorse to me in all the varying colors. I'm just going to let you guys talk about these because I have nothing good to say.
Escalating ornate intricacy based off of rarity of weapon. You saw the one image where from left to right, it went from a relatively simple staff to a much more ornate staff. And I'm curious to see if in other races and other weapons,
I have to pause this at this point. Oh, I went too far. I'm going to go back just an inch. Just an inch. Okay, well, let this play for a second.
All right.
Hold on. This sword right here. This sword looks like a sword out of World of Warcraft.
Is it the blue? I haven't seen
Yes.
it. Is that blue
I
one?
think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, the blue and pink thing with the red gems?
Yeah.
Dude, I saw that. My brain was like, wow.
Yeah.
My brain was like, wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Because of the color scheme, the saturation.
The way
fact
the
that
front is designed.
Yeah.
That weird little side, whatever. All right, anyway, back to the video being played.
All the edge work and the ornateness, but none of it looks like it's actual steel.
Right. Or actually, I should say at the very other than this weird scimitar-looking one, but the first one did look like it have steel blade at the front, but then you have all these weird other things. And then this axe with those weird super wings at the top. I don't know what that's about. Those things
I'll
would
see that in a second.
break off in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's way too ornate. So again, Steven said this. We'll have to take him at his word. He wants to have a variety of arts and styles to appease and to appeal to as many different types of people as possible. So I agree with you, Aggelos, regarding weapons. I don't want my weapons to be too ornate. I want it to look thick and intimidating, like it's gonna crush your face. But aside from that, it doesn't need to be like really, really, really ornate and intricate. But there are people who love that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, no, there are. There definitely are. There are, and it was pretty evident. It was sort of a little bit skewed, I think, towards people really loving this during the live stream.
And that was the sense I got.
Yeah. There were a few dissenters. I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say a word. Not in public, anyway. But it was mixed. I think some people were really excited, more so for the fact that they're actually seeing
New stuff.
in-game renders of things and new things. Yes, new models and whatnot. Right.
Yep.
See, I would actually use that previous longbow, the gray one. That one didn't look too bad.
The gray with the green gems.
Yeah. We've seen so many of these. The axe, again, we've seen this in the past.
Yeah, now we're going through the APOC stuff. They ripped the green gem, black and gray color scheme from Sea of Thieves. The pre-order and Kickstarter outfits were like green gems with the black and the gray. They stole it right from there. Those weapons belong in Sea of Thieves. I will wield that bow in Sea of Thieves.
Did you get the Kickstarter Sea of Thieves?
No.
Well, there you go. Now you can get it in BD or in Ashes.
Nah, in BDO.
In BDO.
In Ashes.
Yeah.
Maybe they're showing us all this kind of crazy ornate stuff because it's not hard to make a bastard sword or a claymore or a standard longsword. It's not hard to design those, and if they display them, people are like, "Yay! It's an average longsword with a regular pommel and stuff. Yay!"
Yeah.
That's not very impressive to people because that's easy to do.
Right.
So you're gonna get that, and then you're probably gonna get the next step up, where some of them have a little bit of ornateness, and then we'll get to this crazy stuff.
So essentially, we're going to be doing my character will be the Guild Wars 2 mentality, where everyone else is like wearing like the fluffy wings, and I'm rocking the level 13 chainmail out of Queensdale.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do that in BDO, right?
I do. Actually, the outfit I'm wearing in BDO is the Shadow Knight. It's like an updated version. I look like a Warhammer character, like my warrior priest, because you got like the scriptures, the strips of scripture paper on your armor, like with the sealing wax, putting it on there. Yeah.
I know the one.
Yeah, I love it. So beautiful. Now we're getting into some more of the images of varying kinds of the great sword.
Recolors of the APOC stuff is what we're seeing right now, I believe, right?
Right.
Yeah,
But
it's all APOC stuff.
I guess this is my concern. Again, we brought this up in the past. We thought the APOC stuff was super ornate and hoping, gaudy, and was hoping that was going to be the legendary. What are the legendary stuff going to look like to compete with all of these million variations that we're seeing now?
That's a good question.
we've had this conversation a million times. They're setting the bar too high day one. Day one of release, when people have all these cosmetics, they're setting the bar way too high.
Yep. It's the WoW syndrome, where every tier of gear had to be bigger and better than the previous tier, or else, you know, it didn't make sense anymore.
But on the flip side, you want to reward the people who got in really early in the development process, in the APOC process, etc., so that 2-3 years down the road in the MMORPG, you hear people complain that, oh, I missed out on back in the day with all that cool stuff and I can't get it anymore because it's exclusive to back then. So where's that balance? I think it's too far into the crazy realm.
Right.
It needs to be toned back a bit, and they have the opportunity. They have time from now until APOC release. They have time to tone it all back a bit if they want. Hint, hint.
Hint, hint.
Hint,
Yeah,
hint.
now would be the time to do it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Despite the fact that I really don't like this mace right here. Those little side prongs, they're gonna break off.
Excuse me, magically reinforced side prongs, not going to break anything.
Fair.
Remember, we've talked about it a
Magic.
million times. Magic.
Yeah.
Wizard did it.
I hear you. Wizard did it.
The wizard did it.
I don't know. It's just like what they're showing us now. They're doing so many variations. Are all these things legendary weapons? I
No,
highly
'cause
doubt it.
If they're available for transmog, they're going to be these crazy spear looks are going to be slapped onto a level 1 spear day 1 of MMO launch.
Yep.
Hey, I got the spear from this pig. Slap on the cosmetic. Look how cool it looks.
Yeah.
Right.
Which bothers me. Day 1, I don't want people to look anything remotely good. Everyone needs to look like a nobody.
Right.
Because that's what they are.
Right. I agree. All right, we're going to go ahead and cut this part short because I know we've seen a few of these other images, which now you're seeing all the different colors and whatnot. I mean, the book looks neat. I like books. They're cool.
I like books.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we'll cut this part short because we do have more videos to see, and this video keeps going for a little bit longer. So we're gonna cut that and move to the next part. Now, the next thing they show, which again was really neat and probably one of my favorite parts of this entire thing, this got actually to the end of the video, was when they showed the backpack. This was one of the things I thought was amazing.
A great concept I've never experienced in another MMO.
Yeah. This backpack was meant to be shown in pieces, and you see it here in the very first images as in pieces.
Yeah.
And then throw it together. So it makes you think all this is very ad hoc. You can just throw stuff piecemeal,
Yes.
throw it in as you need it. Like, oh, here's your sleeping bag. Oh, we're going to add these things. The
Imagine
bag's great.
Yeah.
You can just look at a crafter from a distance or just right beside a crafter and look at them and go, okay, you're a weaponsmith because of this handle on your belt here and this on your back over here. And you're a high-level weaponsmith because you got this upgraded version of the blah, blah, blah on this part of your belt over here. That's cool.
Right. Yeah, no, and it's actually funny. This isn't the first game to do that.
I've never... what
Guild
other game
Wars
has-
2.
I've never... Yeah?
Guild Wars
Oh,
2,
yeah,
you
Guild
had
Wars 2 did that
backpacks.
as well, too.
As a weaponsmith, I actually had a backpack where I had an anvil hanging from the bottom.
Come on. That's so... Come on. Really?
A tiny little anvil hanging from the bottom. And there were
you
different...
an ogre of sorts?
If the alchemy one was actually like this wooden, almost looked like a cabinet, if you will.
Sure. It's made of wood.
Yeah.
But the solid metal anvil hanging off your butt shouldn't work.
No, but what was neat was when the cabinet, when you open it, it had like it would open the doors up every once in a while, and there would be bottles and tinctures and stuff sitting in it, like you were carrying your workshop. And finally, as we get to the end of the show here, they did show something that I did think was pretty cool. And I also remember seeing people in chat start talking about Jaime Lannister, and maybe you'll see why. This is actually one of the KLR Humans metal sets. I do admit, I do like it. But see, that lion motif has been on almost every single piece of human armor we've seen. Even going back to Alpha Zero, the heavy armor had a big lion on the front.
I'm guessing that is a motif for that militaristic human race. What was the name of it? I can't remember the name. There's two human races. One of them is more military than the other.
Our human? Oh, the Kalar.
The Kalars.
The Kalar, yeah, they're the more military of the two, right?
Right. But yeah, this is the gray box version. I do love the multiple belts. That's always cool. And
Overlapping plates, like
yes, the boots look great. The greaves look great. I like this. This is obviously more my style. I'm very happy about that. But again, I think that line, like the wing motif was elves everywhere. I'm going to think that, and that's what I'm going to see, what I talked about before with, I don't think the art style is going to change. We're going to see just as flamboyant swords for the Kalar humans. They're just going to replace the wings with lion motifs. So,
I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's my thought.
I am not a fan of that helmet, though. I would not wear that if you paid me in the game.
Oddly enough, it's funny that people mentioned it. It looks just like the Kingsguard helmets from Game of Thrones.
It does.
Absolutely looks like it just like from Game of Thrones. Anyway.
Yeah, no. Wouldn't touch it.
That is the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of big news. A lot of big news coming out this week. Again, I want to reiterate going forward that this show will be on a bi-weekly basis, but do not unsubscribe from our show and the channel because there's more stuff to do. You can also check out on alternating weeks our MMORPG discussion show with the From the Ashes crew called the Dungeon Crawlers. Again, it'll be available on our YouTube. You'll see it there as well as on any podcast catcher, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcast. So definitely check that out. Same crew, same voices, just talking about MMOs in general.
Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
It's not happening.
Oh, no. Did you check the notes, Crowjack? Guess what?
No.
It's in there now.
No! That was a joke!
Nope. It's happening.
What have I done? Fine, I'll go play it for an hour so I know what I'm talking about.
There you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I want to give a special shout out once again to my amazing co-host, Alpha Soul. Check out all of his videos on _Alpha_Soul on YouTube. And of course, Crowjack and all of his stuff. He hasn't streamed much lately.
I'm all over the place right now. Don't even worry about it.
Just search Crowjack and
Or
check
search
out his-
Crow.
Well, if you go to his Crowjack channel, he actually links his videos from both of his channels. Check out all the stuff he's been doing. Athena or Artemis did not do very well with those cheerleaders, but it was funny to watch. So definitely check out all of his stuff. He does great things. Check it out. Anyway, you can follow everything we do over here at DungeonCrawlerNetwork.com. There you'll find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon program at patreon.com/DungeonCrawlerNetwork if you want to help support the network and these shows. You can also leave us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words. Sometimes it matters. And of course, if you enjoy the Dungeon Crawlers, make sure you leave a 5-star review there as well, because that always helps. Thank you for joining us on this episode of From the Ashes, and we'll see you next time. See you later.